Hello, in this video, I introduce basic ways to configure WAN interfaces on Barracuda firewalls. One of the ways to configure WAN is static IP address mode. In this case, I use Ethernet 1 as the WAN interface. Ethernet 2 is the LAN interface. I assign a static IP address to the WAN interface. In this case, I assign IP address 192.168.1.150 to Ethernet interface 2. Once completed, don't forget to apply the changes. Next, you set up the default route to allow computers to access the Internet. In this case, the gateway IP address is 192.168.1.1. I save the changes. Then check the address table on the firewall. After completing the static IP address configuration, I used a Windows computer on the LAN to test the connection. The computer connects to the Internet successfully. Above is how to set up a static IP address on the WAN interface. Next, I set up a dynamic IP address on Ethernet interface 1. Before setting up dynamic IP mode, I deleted the settings in the previous step. I have finished removing the static IP mode settings on Ethernet interface 1. Next, I set up dynamic IP mode on the WAN interface. I unlocked the configuration and set up dynamic IP mode on Ethernet interface 1. I find setting up dynamic IP mode easier than setting up static IP mode. However, depending on the intended use, there are different configurations. Just like last time, I used a computer connected to the Ethernet 2 interface to test the connection. Using the ping command on my Windows computer tells me that this computer is successfully connected to the Internet. So I have completed 2 ways to set up WAN on Barracuda. A basic WAN interface configuration that cannot be overlooked is to create a PPPoE connection. And this is the final configuration I introduce in this video. I disabled dynamic IP address mode and enabled XDSL mode. I create a new PPPoE connection on Ethernet interface 1. You then set up your PPPoE account. Next, you save the settings. Apply settings. As you can see, this is the public IP address generated from the PPPoE connection. I have completed the third configuration on the Barracuda Firewall. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good luck.